All right.
Live.
Okay, so welcome to Ochlo Nature School, or Nature Kindergarten. As you can see, it's a rainy day and I'm reading all the comments from people in Crieff, just down the road, and Stirling, Ayrshire. We've got people in Aberdeen. We've got people from all over Scotland who are joining us today. And we're all saying it's pretty wet. One of the good things about being out in the rain is that when you're playing with stones, which is what our inquiry is all about, the water makes your stone come alive. It shows up all those beautiful colours that you've got when you rock. So it's good to go out in the rain. You just need to make sure you've got your coat on, you've got your over trousers, and you're nice and warm and cosy. So we've got friends joining us from Australia, Tasmania, Hong Kong, people from all over the world who are using this YouTube channel now to be able to talk and discuss about rocks or about puddles, all of our different inquiries with them. So very much a welcome to everybody from around the world. Don't forget, when you're doing any of this work, do tag us in Twitter at VNature School and share with us what you're doing in our Facebook groups. If you're in Scotland, you should be part of our virtualnatureschool.scot project. If you're international, do join us in that Facebook group around the Virtual Nature School International, and we'll be able to then share and comment some of the things that you're thinking about sharing and discovering in that space. So let's get started. We're thinking today about rocks as being not just about a fascinating thing for geology, but we're going to move forward now to thinking about how beautiful they are, the aesthetics of them, the colours in them, the shapes that they create, and of course their very individual nature, which is the thing that really fascinates me. So let's have a look at our film and we'll come back and share some of our ideas in a few moments.
Welcome to our second film, where we're going to be exploring more things around the idea of rocks and crystals. I'm Claire, and what I'm going to do now is take you through this film, which is going to give us more ideas of things that we might want to explore. Let's start, first of all, with your thinking. We've had lots of conversations. Some people have been talking about where rocks come from. They've been talking about the amount of rocks they've got and realised that they had more than they thought that they did. So we've been doing lots of maths. People have been thinking around fossils and around the times of dinosaurs. We've been looking at the names like quartz and understanding different names that they use in geology. We've been talking about going to shops and being collectors of crystals. We've really enjoyed washing them and actually found lovely shapes like hearts and squares just there on the ground right in front of us. Someone's even been so creative as to use a shoe, and they filled that full of little bits of gravel. We've been exploring, we've been excavating, we've been cleaning, and we've been sorting. And people have been outside wherever it is that they live. So some people have been out for a walk on a path. Some people have gone to a little bit they call the beach by a river. Some people have gone just outside into their garden. So we can go outside in all sorts of different places and find amazing things. We've been researching, we've been organising, and we've been treasuring. So in our research, we've looked at cards that have told us a bit more about rocks and stones. We've been looking in books that we've had on the shelf. Some people have gone onto the internet and found out more about rocks. Some of us already had little kits that we had in our houses, and we've looked those out and reminded ourselves how amazing that they are. We've been playing with diggers, and we've been trying to move very heavy rocks and creating landscapes. But we've also been treasuring, and what's been lovely has been people saying, I didn't realise the rocks right here are quite as beautiful as they are. So let's think a little bit about the talking tub and what things might be inside the talking tub for us to think a little bit about. So I wonder how we could use stones to make things, to create art. And art is a thing that is actually something that's very beautiful for me. So this is stone, it's in a canyon, and the wind and the water have created these beautiful shapes. It looks like it's painted, but it's actually a photograph. Sometimes when we can use things like magnifiers, we can see the beauty This is inside a beautiful crystal and it's been cut in half. And you can see there are lines and there are curves and there are all sorts of colours around the purples and the blues and the pinks. So it's almost like a gorgeous painting. When we get collections of little rocks, we can use those rocks and stones and crystals to create works of art. So I actually think this beautiful picture of sorting out all of the pebbles and the crystals into the colours is quite beautiful. So sometimes we make patterns and sometimes we make pictures. Sometimes we use glue and sometimes we don't. We're going to look at something called transient art, which means that you don't glue it. You don't stick it down. You just play with those loose materials, make pictures and patterns, and then let it go and reorganize it in a different way. We can use sieves and we can use things like that to find little teeny weeny bits of rock. So if you've got a sandpit, you might want to see what's hiding inside your sandpit, because sand is made up of a mixture of broken down shells and little beautiful bits of rock. You might have some gravel on your drive that you could use to wash and sieve to find these very small pieces, because often they can be quite beautiful. So when we do transient art, we can use the colours of the stones that we find to give ourselves patterns. So this beautiful spiral is all just done by pushing stones into some sand. Here's another spiral where they've got all these different stones and pebbles and created shapes. They've done theirs on a beach, but you could do it anywhere at all. This one is a beautiful pattern, and again it's on a beach, but they've done it where they've just got a central stone and then they put their pebbles all around it in circles. Here's one where they've got very flat shale-like stones, greys, and they've stood them up in their sand and their gravel so they can see all these beautiful shapes. This person has decided to use a piece of board and they're using the stones that they've cleaned up and they've brought them inside, and now they're starting to not make a pattern but to make a picture. So we can draw ideas with our pens and our pencils, but we can also use things like stones and shells to make lovely pictures. I wonder if you can guess what this picture is of. I think it's some sort of dog, but it might be something different for you. So what you need to do is to collect together some of these things, and sometimes we just use stones, sometimes we get other bits of stick and add those in. So look, here's somebody who's used a stone and now they've used those sticks to make some sort of branch. And then they've used their pebbles to decorate those branches. None of it is glued down and all of it can be removed and used in a different way in a minute. Here's somebody who's made a giant butterfly just by spreading out their stones on the ground. Here's a lovely picture of a person. And so looking for long stones and round stones helps us think about what shapes they could be. So this picture also has a sun in it, has what I think is probably a little dog, and it actually has another flower to the side of this person. So we can do all sorts of things in our pictures just using stones. I often like to frame my pictures. I like to enclose them. And so here we've just put a line of stones around it. But you could use sticks to make a frame to actually show that this is a picture that you've made. Things that you might find useful when you want to make this thing called transient art is a basket, obviously, to get all your pebbles and your stones in. Something to sort them out, because it's quite nice to sort out the black stones and the white stones and the green stones so that when you're making your art, you can very easily choose the right colour. We often make frames at the Nature Kindergarten, and that means that we can get bits of stick and tie them together in the corner. So you can have a go at making your own frame just using some sticks from your garden. All of that is going to take some time, but if you're somebody who likes to work more quickly, if you're somebody who likes to really get going on things, then you might want to start your museum. If you remember, I said try and find yourself a box. You might like to cut your box. And you can see here there's a black line to tell you where to cut it, because each box you find will give you 2 rooms, if you like, that you can use to make your little museum, your space to put your collection. And to help us, Maya is going to explain her ideas.
So once you've got your box, you can basically just do any design you want. Because if you get one of the boxes sides, you'll have like 3 flaps. Because if you fold these over there, you won't be able to flap it, so you have to just move it. So my idea is to like put like rock facts here, and then when you open it up, you'll have facts on both sides. And then I was going to put a shelf there, and then we could like at the bottom here you could have like a display of rocks that you like, or rocks that you find interesting and pretty. And then like if you find like wee crystals, then you could label them what crystals are called, or even if you have some at home, because I've got a crystal collection at home, then you could just label them at the bottom. You could also make wee booklets, which I'm going to put at the top shelf here, of which crystals can be found where. So then you can basically just do any design you want after you've got the box.
So thank you very much to Maya, who's helped us with her ideas. And let's have a little look at some of the things that she's done. So this is her box that she's cut. And as she said in there, she's made her little shelves. She's decided to sort out all the bits of gravel stones that we found and washed today. And she's working with her sister. So together they've had a go at making their organizer box today, and they'll be adding more things to their museum as the week goes on. So one of the things that they wanted to have a go at doing was to do a piece of transient art with their stones. Then we're going to photograph it. We're going to try and print it, or we might need to draw it, and we're going to put it on the wall of the museum as a piece of artwork. So it's up to you if you do that, but that's certainly one of Maya's plans that we're going to go forward with in our project. There's so many things that we could have done with stones, but today we're really going to just explore the idea of transient art, this idea of using stones in our art and starting to really think about maybe finding a box and shaping it and thinking about how we might want to make a little diorama, a little place to make into a museum. I look forward to seeing you in the virtual classroom.
All right, so what a lot to think about. And one of the lovely things is that it's a rainy day. So sometimes it's going to sit inside with the rain pattering down, and then spend your time just really enjoying your rocks and creating little booklets. So here are a couple of little booklets that I'm talking about. One of the things that you do is bits of paper and fold it in and make it into a zigzag. And then by making it into a zigzag, if you shape this top edge like this, it like a mountain, round it like a boulder, and then when you fold it together, it looks like you've got different layers of the landscape. And in here, you might put all your interesting facts. So there are other little types of booklets that we could talk about later on. But think about what you might put into your little booklets about making your works of art that you can print out on a museum. So let's go and see who we have online and see if anybody would like to share with us their plans. I can see Sky is with us. Should we go to Sky? Good morning, Sky. How are you?
Yeah. Fine. I did have some pebbles to show you. Yesterday we brought it like always like this.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Where did we go
Look
yesterday?
how shiny that is.
It's kind of like a oval shape. It's an oval.
It is an oval shape, almost like an egg.
Yeah. Where did we go yesterday? Can you tell Claire where did we go yesterday? What did we do yesterday? We find some rocks which is kind of cool, and we paint on it. This way is kind of like a pineapple, but it's a pineapple, see? And we post it on Facebook.
Yeah. I see it. They're lovely. And they're on Facebook. We can have a look at those later on.
On top, I draw a lot more because I want it to be bigger so it can look like a pineapple like this.
I can see it's a pineapple. That's very good. I love the shapes that you've chosen.
And
They're
I
so
draw
beautiful. Sky.
2 of them. I have, and this one's kind of like shiny almost. And then this one is spiral. This spiral rock.
Oh
Spiral
yes, look at that.
rock.
All the shapes
It's
in
a
it.
spiral like this. And it's kind of special for me. And it's kind of like pretty cute. And this one has 2 colors. This one.
Oh, what colours can you hold it up?
Dots.
I can't quite see that. Oh yes,
Okay.
like the grey, is it? And a white?
Okay.
That's very nice. It's like the Dalmatian rock we talked about yesterday.
It's
Dalmatian
kind of
White.
it's kind of like it's 2 colors, which is kind of like white and black, which is
Mm.
kind of a dark one. See,
Yeah,
but this one is kind of like kind of lighter one, which is kind of cool.
A lot of rocks today. So might you have a little go at making up a picture, do you think?
Make a picture, Sky.
Oh yes, and this one kind of like two colors.
Uh-huh.
And match with this, and the one that is kind of like strippy.
Which
Mhm.
one? Which one are you talking about?
And do you know that it's like something else?
Show the
Like
camera here.
it's kind of like a tree.
It does look like a tree. It's absolutely that shape. That's very good,
It looks
Sky.
like a Christmas tree. It's
It
cute,
does look like a Christmas tree. It's like one of those triangle shapes, isn't it?
like this.
I
Like,
see it. So
like
maybe
a-
today, Sky, you can have a go at
Yeah.
using that in one of your pictures,
Yeah,
and
make a
then maybe
picture.
start to organize
Okay.
it into a little museum box. That
Yes,
would be
we have-
lovely. So let's
we
pop
have
over
these.
and see who else is with us this morning, Sky, and I'll chat to you later on today when we get together at lunchtime. All right, let's go and see. We've got friends who've joined us from the Wendy House in Falkirk. We've got folks who've swept in from Colburn, from Ballock. Fabulous. So Sue from Livingston is talking about finding lovely stones that you can just hold in your hand. So today is the day we now really celebrate those beautiful stones. We may want to draw them. We may want to make a little book of all their photographs. We might want to make a little picture like I showed you using the stones in your art. You might decide you want to make lots of things to do today about appreciating the beauty and gorgeousness of those stones that we found today. So I'll look forward to hearing more of your ideas a bit later on. So I'll see you later, everybody. See you. Bye. Bye.